Shedeur throws 2 touchdowns in that one. The Packers score 13 fourth-quarter points to edge out the Colts, 23-19. C.J. Stroud connects with Nico Collins for a touchdown in Houston as the Texans beat the Panthers. Bryce Young played only 1 series there. The Patriots beat the Vikings 20-12. Brief showing from starter Drake May in that one. And Dylan Gabriel gets the start for the Browns as Cleveland tries to still figure out its quarterback room. 22-13, a win for the Browns over the Eagles. Let's bring in our guy Tyler Sullivan to react to these games here that we just showed you. We'll pick out a few. And Tyler, how do we start anywhere but Cleveland, given what we saw from Shedeur Sanders a week ago and now Dylan Gabriel? Sanders sidelined with an injury. Gabriel missed the first preseason game because of an injury, but he gets his start. 5 drives, and other than the pick 6, which, you know, is not easy to just glance over, but other than the pick 6, looked pretty good. 13 of 18, 143 yards, no touchdowns, and again, that pick 6. What did you think of Gabriel showing?
Yeah, it's tough when you say, well, minus the pick 6, because, you know, that's kind of a big piece of this whole thing, too. And that's what's going to be the sticking point, I think, with the coaching staff. You can't turn the ball over. And this is not getting talked about as much. I thought he was at fault, and I think he was actually credited for the fumble there. It was Pierre Strong Jr., the fumble earlier in that game as well. It was kind of on an exchange in the handoff. I think they gave that to Dylan Gabriel. You could probably just say it's 50-50, so maybe 1.5 turnovers in this game, or at least involved in 2 turnover-worthy plays. That can't happen when you're in a quarterback controversy. If you are a established starter, maybe the alarm bells will still go off, but overall, you can't do that if you're Dylan Gabriel. Yes, as you referenced, an efficient outing. He showed some flashes. 13 of 18. You complete over 70% of your passes. You're doing overall something right. But again, it's those turnovers. There was no real flash in terms of scoring plays. So yeah, you can lean on the efficiency. But again, it's that number over there. It's 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, I credit him half for that fumble earlier. So looking at the quarterback competition overall, you look at Shedeur Sanders, didn't throw any turnovers in that opener. And, you know, it's kind of silly because you do look at that game, you look at the game tape, there was at least 1 turnover-worthy throw that Sanders had in that debut, but he doesn't have it on his resume right now. Overall, I still think that this is Joe Flacco's job. Again, everybody's dealing with injuries, it feels like, outside of Joe Flacco. I don't know if that's the route that I would go down. Maybe that gives Kevin Stefanski the opportunity to win games early this season. But at some point, I think you have to figure out what you have and give a longer look to the likes of Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to see if they are building blocks for the future. Again, Sanders is getting a lot of love, but Gabriel's the 3rd-round pick. He should probably have the inside track. So at some point, if they want to make that turn to a younger quarterback, it could be Gabriel.
Shedeur a week ago, 14 of 23, 138, and those 2 touchdowns you talked about, no turnovers. All right, so we showed you the quarterback room. It's crowded. We know that. If Flacco starts week 1, it's a difficult start for the Browns on the schedule. So if Flacco starts week 1, what do you think the Browns should do here with their 2 rookie quarterbacks? Do they move one? Is Kenny Pickett still on the roster when this regular season starts?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's really going to come down to health, right? I mean, if one of these quarterbacks aren't healthy, that kind of makes the decision for you. But if it were me, if I were running the Cleveland Browns, I'm not. It'd be quite the payday if I could, but ultimately I'm not. But if I were running the Cleveland Browns, to me, I would, again, look at your young quarterbacks. I don't know what Kenny Pickett does for you. The same thing that Joe Flacco does. It can help you maybe win now, but I don't know if he's a guy that is really going to help raise your ceiling in 2026 and in 2027, because that's really what the conversation is here when we talk about possibly handing the keys over to Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Can they maybe you take a step back a little bit in 2025, but you're building that foundation to actually compete for something, a playoff spot in those years later on. So I would probably keep both the young quarterbacks. I'd certainly keep Dylan Gabriel. Again, you spent a 3rd-round pick on him. Shedeur Sanders is the name in this quarterback room. But again, given his draft status, given where the team and the rest of the NFL seemingly values him, maybe he's a little bit more expendable. Again, that first showing was impressive. I would want to keep him around. So for me, it would be Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I'd start with those 3. And if you want to keep one more, okay, fine. We'll keep Kenny Pickett. But if you're only going to have 3 quarterbacks. I'd stay with the veteran that you'll start the year with in Flacco, and then have your 2 developmental QBs duke it out in the shadows.
Yeah, 4 starts to sound like a big number on a 53-man roster with the quarterback position there. All right, how about the Patriots and the Vikings game here? New England wins 20-12, and everybody was impressed by what Drake May was able to do as a rookie last year at quarterback. So we didn't see a lot of him on Saturday, but kind of know what you're getting there probably. And you'd love to have a running game that is solid for a second-year QB like May. What does New England have at the running back position? Travion Henderson scored a touchdown today.
Yeah, a really impressive showing for the second week in a row for the second-round pick out of Ohio State. He is someone that I'm really interested to see the kind of role that he's going to be given with the New England Patriots, because I think when he was first drafted, everybody kind of looked at him and said, okay, this is going to be the next James White. This is going to be the next Shane Vereen, that receiving back, as he was lauded for his pass-blocking abilities at Ohio State. But now you're starting to see maybe this could be more like a Jahmyr Gibbs type role in between the tackles type of a runner. Again, only played a little bit in this game, but had 2 third-down conversions on the ground. One was a 3rd and 8, and the other, or 3rd and 11, excuse me, and the other one was a 3rd and 4 that he took 8 yards for a touchdown and was really weaving through traffic. He is showing burst that this Patriots offense hasn't had at any of the skill positions as far back as I can remember. And so they're going to have to find ways to get this young guy the football, whether it's, again, through the air in the passing game or traditionally out of the backfield, because we saw it last week. This dude is liable to take it 100 yards to the house on a kickoff. You saw that explosiveness again here on Saturday against the Minnesota Vikings. So this is going to end up being a very massive piece of their offense.
And in Indianapolis, Packers beat the Colts 23-19. No Jordan Love, still injured after surgery on the left thumb. But the story, of course, everybody's following with the Colts is QB1. Is it going to be the number 4 overall pick from a few years ago, Anthony Richardson, or will it be the new guy, Daniel Jones? And the numbers on these guys today: Tyler Jones was 7-11, 101 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Richardson 6 of 11, 73 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Have they figured anything out? Has this helped Shane Steichen settle anything in Indianapolis?
I still think he has a few sleepless nights ahead of him, because neither one of these quarterbacks really jumped out and took the job by force. I would say if we're going to determine a winner out of week 2 of the preseason, I would give it to Daniel Jones. I felt like the offense was a lot smoother with him under center. There were still some warts, no doubt. But with Anthony Richardson, you still kind of saw those warts where there was some inconsistencies throwing short. There was some throws into traffic that were really dangerous. So I would give it to Daniel Jones. And again, not perfect. You saw that first series against the Green Bay Packers, miscommunication with the snap. It seemed like he pulled out a little bit too early. Ball hits the ground. The Colts were able to jump on it, but overall derails the entire opening drive. They have to punt. And then the second drive, a little bit shaky in his first couple of throws, but then Daniel Jones really started to get into the rhythm. It was a couple of 20-yard throws, one to Michael Pittman Jr., a beautiful ball down the left sideline to Tyler Warren, their first-round rookie tight end. So there was a lot to like in terms of some deep ball throwing from Daniel Jones. And again, the offense looked a lot more of a smoother operation with him under center. With Anthony Richardson, there was some higher highs. There was one play in particular, he threw it felt like 40 yards down the field to his intended receiver, hit him in stride, perfectly fit into a window, but it was called back due to a penalty. But still, you can give him credit for that throw. But then there were some other instances. He threw his running back was behind. He had a throw to his running back that was behind him, probably should have been intercepted. There was another throw to his running back in the flat that was a little bit too far out in front. And then there was one throw, they got into the red area. He threw it to his tight end, and there was about 5 Packers all around him. The ball fell incomplete, but a very dangerous throw from Anthony Richardson. So it's kind of one of those things. If you're Shane Steichen, what do you want? Do you want someone with a higher floor that you can give this offense, which in my opinion would be Daniel Jones, or are you looking for a higher ceiling, which would be Anthony Richardson? I think at this stage, I would go with the higher floor option, which to me would be Daniel Jones.
Yeah, the highs are high, the lows